Let me hit you with something uncomfortable. If trading is just about strategy, why do so many smart people still lose money? Seriously, PhDs, engineers, programmers, they enter the market armed with logic and numbers and get destroyed. Meanwhile, some ex-poker player with no degree walks away with $1 million P&L. How is that even possible? I remember watching two traders, same office, same tools, same market. Both spotted a textbook breakout on USD. Both clicked buy, and then the candle dipped slightly. Just noise. But that noise triggered one of them. He stared at the red, his palms got sweaty, closed the trade for a tiny loss. 10 minutes later, price exploded, just like the setup predicted. The other trader, still sitting there, calm, focused, cashed out at target. Same signal, same market. One walked away frustrated. The other walked away with 5 figures in profit. So, what really made the difference? It wasn't intelligence, it wasn't who had the better trading view layout. It was mental wiring. Losers chase certainty. Winners dance with probability. Losers react to every candle. Winners respond to their plan. Losers need to be right. Winners need to follow process. That's the game. And it's brutal. The truth is, the market is a mirror. It reflects every fear, every impulse, every flaw you try to hide. And until you fix the mind behind the mouse, no strategy will ever save you. It's not just about discipline, it's about identity. It's about how you see risk, uncertainty, loss, and even yourself. Because trading doesn't just test your skills, it tests your psychology. And most people, they never train for that. So in this video, we're not chasing green candles, we're building something deeper. The mental foundation that turns amateurs into assassins. We'll explore the 12 mindsets that separate those who make consistent profits from those who keep blowing up accounts. If you're ready to stop trading like a gambler and start thinking like a pro, then welcome. This is where the real journey begins. Let's dive in. Welcome to the channel where traders stop chasing signals and start building mindset mastery. Here, we go beyond setups and indicators. We dive into the psychology, discipline, and inner game that separates amateurs from professionals. If you're done with emotional trading, ready to master risk, and want to develop a system that lasts, you're in the right place. This isn't trading hype. This is trading truth. Subscribe, lock in, and let's build the mind that builds your edge. Mindset number 1, detached from outcome. Now this is where most traders fall apart. They win, they feel invincible. They lose, they spiral, panic, overtrade, revenge trade. Their emotions are glued to every trade outcome, like a roller coaster with no brakes. But legendary traders, they're built different. They don't get emotionally married to wins or losses. They stay married to the process. Process outcome, why it matters. Here's the painful truth. You can be right and still lose money. And you can be wrong and still make money. A single trade means nothing. The edge is in how you execute over time, not what happens in one random outcome. Think about a professional poker player. He goes all in with pocket aces. He loses. Does that mean he played it wrong? Of course not. Great traders think in probabilities, not certainties. And that's the difference. Most losing traders think like gamblers. Winning traders think like casino owners. Watch Mark Douglas and the Power of Probability Thinking. Mark Douglas, author of Trading in the Zone, nailed this mindset. He said, trading is a probability game, and your job is not to know what will happen, but to execute flawlessly on your edge, every time. He taught that confidence in trading comes not from predicting the market, but from trusting that your edge will work over a large enough sample size. In other words, stop asking, will this trade win? Start asking, did I follow my process perfectly? The emotional trap. But here's what most traders do. They win a trade. They feel like a genius. They increase size. They get sloppy. They lose a trade. They feel like a failure. They try to make it back. They dig deeper. Their identity gets tied to the P&L. And when your self-worth rides on the outcome of a single trade, You're one red candle away from losing your mind. The fix: detachment through ritual and journaling. So, how do elite traders detach emotionally? They build rituals, they journal, they review trades not based on P&L but on execution quality. Here's a simple rule: log every trade with 0 emotional tags. No, this was stupid. No, I knew I should have waited. Just cold, clean facts. Did I follow my entry criteria? Did I size the position properly? Did I respect my stop and take profit? What was the context? What would I do differently? Logically. The goal is not emotional comfort. The goal is performance clarity. Detachment is not apathy, it's power. Now, don't get it twisted. Being detached doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop reacting. You execute your system like a sniper, no emotion, no hope, just precision. Because the truth is, the market doesn't care if you need a win, but it will always reward consistency. You can be right and still lose money, or be wrong and make money. It's the process that counts. And when you truly internalize that, you become untouchable. In the next section, we'll dive into the real obsession of millionaire traders. It's not profits. It's something much more primal and far more powerful. Let's talk about risk. Mindset number 2, obsession with risk management. Let me say this up front. The best traders in the world are not profit obsessed. They're risk obsessed. That's right. They don't wake up thinking, how much can I make? They wake up thinking, how do I protect my capital today? What you think is the game isn't. Most retail traders are chasing the wrong target. They look at trading like it's a video game. Flashy gains, green numbers, the next home run trade. They brag about 500% returns, but forget to mention they blew 3 accounts last month. You know who doesn't blow up? The trader who respects risk like it's sacred, because in this game, you don't win by attacking. You win by surviving. Every single legendary trader, from Paul Tudor Jones to Ray Dalio, says the same thing in different words. Don't focus on making money, focus on not losing it. Why risk management equals psychological freedom? Here's what most people miss. Good risk management isn't just about your account balance, it's about your mind. When you risk too much, you get tense, you can't think clearly. You need the trade to work. That need turns into fear, and fear kills performance. But when your risk is small and controlled, you're free to follow the plan. You're free to execute without fear. And paradoxically, that's when the money comes. Practical risk rules used by millionaire traders. So what do elite traders actually do? They follow strict rules like these. 1. Risk 1% or less per trade. Not 10%, not 20%, not let me just go all in this one time, just 1%, or even 0.5%, because your edge plays out over hundreds of trades, not one. 2. Use asymmetric setups. That means risk $100 to potentially make $300. Risk $500 to make $1,500. Always ask, is the risk worth the potential? 3. Set a max daily or weekly drawdown. When that limit's hit, stop trading, full stop, because trading in emotional tilt is where accounts go to die. Why pros treat risk like ammunition? Think of it this way. A professional sniper doesn't fire just because he sees movement. He waits, he breathes, he calculates, because every bullet counts. Every shot costs something. Trading is the same. Every trade is a bullet, and you can't afford to waste them on low-quality setups, emotional impulse, or FOMO. True wealth staying in the game. Here's the paradox. The longer you survive, the richer you get. Trading is not about swinging for the fences. It's about staying in the arena long enough for your edge, your discipline, and your mindset to do what they were designed to do. And that only happens if you protect your downside first. Amateurs think about how much they can make. Professionals think about how much they can lose. Emotional shift from fearful to responsible. The moment you start respecting risk, you stop chasing the market. You start behaving like a guardian of capital not a gambler with a death wish. You stop needing to be right. You start aiming to be consistent. And that mindset, it changes everything. So we've talked about detachment from outcome. We've talked about obsession with risk. But there's another enemy lurking in your trading room right now: your own emotions. In the next part, we're going to talk about emotional neutrality and how the best traders train themselves to feel absolutely nothing when the trade is live. Let's get into it. Mindset number 3, emotional neutrality superpower. Let me ask you something direct. How often have you entered a trade not because it was your setup, but because you felt anxious to catch the move? Or worse, how many times did you hold on too long because you were afraid to take a loss? Now flip the script. Imagine this. You take a trade and feel absolutely nothing. Win, no celebration. Loss, no panic. Just a quick journal entry and on to the next. That's emotional neutrality, and it's a superpower. Emotions are natural, but dangerous. Look, we're human. We're wired to feel fear when something is uncertain and greed when we see opportunity. It's biology, it's ancient, and it's lethal in trading. Fear makes you exit too early. Greed makes you hold too long. FOMO makes you break your rules. Anger makes you revenge trade. Euphoria makes you over leverage. The market doesn't destroy traders, their emotions do. The science, why you can't trust your brain in the moment. Here's what neuroscience tells us. When you're in a trade, your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, shuts down, and your amygdala, the emotional fight or flight center, lights up. You stop thinking, you start reacting, you can't calculate, you can't reflect. You're just trying to escape pain or chase pleasure. That's not trading, that's survival mode. And survival mode doesn't build wealth, it burns it. Emotional neutrality is not apathy, it's control. Let's be clear, we're not trying to become emotionless robots. We're not trying to suppress feelings. We're trying to detach from them in the moment and respond with control, not impulse. Neutrality doesn't mean I don't care. It means I care about the right things and ignore the noise. How elite traders train neutrality. They don't just hope to stay calm, they train for it. They build emotional buffers into their routines. 1. Pre-trade rituals, breathing, visualization, reviewing the playbook. You don't go into a fight cold, you warm up the mind. 2. Post-trade resets. After a big win or loss, step away. Take a walk, journal, reset your mental baseline before jumping back in. 3. Automated execution. Remove yourself from the trigger. Use limit orders. Preset stop loss and take profit. Let the system do the job. Don't rely on willpower in real time. 4. Emotional journaling. Track not just your trades, but your emotional state. What triggered you? What broke your focus? Patterns emerge, and once you see the pattern, you can break it. In trading, the calm mind wins. The reactive mind pays for the calm mind's profits. That's the real battlefield, not on the screen, but inside your own nervous system. Two traders, let me tell you a quick story. Two traders both spot the same setup on Tesla. One enters, then stares at the screen, tick by tick, heart racing, clicking refresh, adjusting the stop loss every few seconds. Outcome, he exits too early, then re-enters late, then blows the plan. The other, he sets the trade, walks away, comes back 2 hours later, target hit, journaled, done. Zero drama, zero dopamine spikes. Who do you think wins over time? Exactly. So far, you've seen the invisible rules of elite traders. They're detached from outcome, obsessed with risk, and emotionally unshakable. But now comes the next shift. They don't trade more, they trade less. But when they do, it's deadly precise. In the next part, we'll talk about the sniper mindset and how precision, patience, and timing separate millionaires from wannabes. Let's go. Mindset number 4, precision over activity. They trade less, but with lethal precision. Let me tell you one of the most dangerous lies in trading. The more you trade, the more you'll make. Sounds productive, right? Sounds like hustle, but it's pure poison. Because in trading, unlike most other professions, doing more often leads to losing more. Not because effort is bad, but because precision beats activity. Always. The illusion of productivity. Most traders, especially beginners, think they have to be in the market all the time. They stare at the charts like it's a slot machine. They're scanning, scrolling, clicking, overtrading because they're addicted to feeling like they're doing something. But guess what? Snipers don't fire because they're bored. They wait and then strike. Once. With purpose. That's what elite traders do. They're not chasing setups. They're waiting for high probability moments. They're not trading noise, they're hunting clarity. Why less is more, mathematically and mentally? Let's do the math. Say you take 5 trades a week, low quality, random setups, and you win 50% of the time. Your edge is neutral, your emotions are fried, your account goes nowhere or worse, down. Now compare that to someone who takes 1 trade a week, but it's a high conviction setup with 3R return and 70% win rate. They're calm, focused, sharp. Who ends up more profitable after 3 months? Easy answer. The one who treats trading like a sniper mission, not a TikTok addiction. The sniper versus machine gun metaphor. Trader type, behavior, outcome. Who ends up profitable after 3 months? Machine gunner, constant entries, overtrading, FOMO. Low win rate, high stress, no consistency. Sniper waits, analyzes, executes with precision. High reward, low risk, long-term growth. One is reactive, the other is strategic. One is fueled by emotion, the other is driven by discipline. How to build the precision mindset. This mindset doesn't come naturally. We live in a world of dopamine, instant feedback. So training precision requires intentional habits. Here's how top traders build it. 1. Predefined criteria only. You don't take a trade unless it meets all your rules. No almost. No, this looks kind of good. Check the boxes or skip it. 2. Fewer, higher quality trades. Set a max number of trades per week. Force yourself to be selective. This raises your standards and trains discipline. 3. Daily scan, weekly plan. You don't trade what's moving, you trade what's setting up. Like a sniper picking a spot, not spraying the battlefield. 4. Post-trade review. Grade your precision. Did I enter at the right time? Did I follow my own trigger criteria? Did I wait or did I react? Here's the mindset shift. Patience is not passive, it's aggressive discipline. While others are jumping into trades out of boredom, you're conserving mental capital. You're waiting for the perfect storm, and when it comes, you act with total conviction. That's why some traders make more in 1 setup than others make in 30, because it's not about quantity, it's about quality under control. You don't get paid to trade, you get paid to wait and then strike like a sniper. Let that sink in. Your job isn't to be active, it's to be effective. Now, so far we've talked about the external habits, managing outcome, controlling risk, staying emotionally neutral, and trading with precision. But what about your inner world? Your beliefs, your self-awareness, your willingness to face the truth about your own behavior. That's where we're going next. In part 6, we'll unpack a mindset that most traders avoid, but all millionaire traders embrace. Brutal self-honesty. Let's go. Mindset number 5, brutal self-honesty and self-awareness. They treat every trade as a mirror. Let's get real for a second. You want to know the hardest skill in trading? Not technical analysis, not macroeconomics, not even risk management. It's this: looking in the mirror and telling yourself the truth. No ego, no denial, no excuses. That's what separates elite traders from the rest. They're brutally honest with themselves, and they use every trade, win or lose, as a reflection of their inner world. Why most traders lie to themselves? Here's what average traders. They lose money, and blame the market. They break their rules and call it instinct. They over-leverage and justify it as confidence. They chase and say, I just had a feeling. They revenge trade and blame volatility. It's all noise, all ego, because accepting fault means admitting you're not perfect. And that hurts. But guess what? Your trading account doesn't care about your feelings. It reflects your decisions, nothing more. The power of radical self-awareness. Legendary traders develop something rare: self-awareness under pressure. They know when they're acting out of fear. They know when ego is in control. They catch themselves mid-trade and correct, not collapse. That kind of awareness isn't luck. It's built through brutal, honest feedback loops. And it starts with a question most traders never ask: what part of this mistake was mine? The trading journal, your psychological X-ray. Let me be blunt. If you're not journaling every trade, you're trading blind. Not just price, entry, stop loss, but the why behind it. What emotion did I feel entering this trade? Did I follow my plan or break it? What was I hoping for and why? Was this trade part of my system or part of my ego? The goal isn't to feel good, it's to get clarity, because clarity kills bias. The ego trap, the silent killer of traders. Ego doesn't just show up when you brag, it shows up when you refuse to cut a loss, when you add more to prove yourself right, when you ignore your plan because this time is different. That's not trading, that's emotional gambling with a superiority complex. Top traders? They kill ego before it kills them. How to train brutal honesty without shame. Here's how pros build self-honesty without beating themselves up. 1. Separate identity from results. Losing a trade doesn't make you a loser. Breaking a rule doesn't mean you're broken, but if you ignore it, it stays with you. 2. Create a mistake log. Yes, write down every mistake. Not to shame yourself, but to see patterns. Every mistake has a root, emotion, impulse, or flaw in process. 3. Ask mentors or peers to audit your journal. Accountability speeds up growth. Even just knowing someone will read your log makes you more honest. 4. Celebrate honest reflection, not just winning trades. Your best lessons don't come from green days. They come from red days, when you stop lying to yourself. The moment you start telling yourself the truth in trading is the moment you stop bleeding silently. The trader who thought he was disciplined. I once coached a trader who swore he was disciplined. He followed his plan, or so he thought. Then we reviewed his journal. Turns out he adjusted stops mid-trade, took impulsive entries during news, doubled down on losses twice a week. But he didn't see any of that until he looked and told himself the truth. 2 months later, he cut 70% of his mistakes just by owning them. His edge wasn't the new strategy, it was self-honesty. Now here's the thing. Self-awareness gives you control, but it's not enough to just know yourself. You also need to think long-term. Stay flexible, stay humble, and build quiet, grounded confidence. And that's exactly what we're unpacking next. We're diving into 4 core internal mindsets that form the backbone of elite trading psychology. Let's keep going. The inner game stack, mindsets number 6. Let's step deeper into the mind, because this is where the real game is played. You can have the best strategy, the cleanest charts, and perfect execution. But if your inner world is messy, your trading will mirror that chaos. Elite traders don't just master setups, they build a psychological stack, 4 core mindsets that work together like gears in a machine. Mindset number 6, long-term thinking. Play the infinite game. Most traders think in hours. Pros think in decades. They're not obsessed with today's P&L. They're building habits, refining systems, and playing for sustainability. Why? Because short-term thinking creates desperation. You over-leverage. You force trades. You panic after one red day. But when you zoom out, one losing trade means nothing. Even a losing month is just a data point in a long-term curve. Millionaire traders think like investors. Even when they're day trading, they're optimizing for consistency, not adrenaline. Mindset number 7, adaptability. The market doesn't owe you anything. Here's a hard truth. Your edge will eventually die. Every market evolves, volatility changes. What worked last year might destroy you this year. The losing trader clings to the past. The winning trader adapts, evolves, experiments. They stay curious about it. They track new behavior, they test, they tweak. They treat the market like a living organism, not a fixed formula. If you're rigid, you break. If you're fluid, you flow. Mindset 8, humility. You're not the market's master. Let's get your ego out of the way again. The market is not your enemy, but it's not your friend either. It's just bigger than you and always will be. When traders lack humility, they overtrade, break rules, add to losers, refuse to cut losses, think they're due for a win. But elite traders know the market doesn't care about your opinion. Your job isn't to be right. Your job is to be aligned with what the market is actually doing. Trade what you see, not what you believe. That's humility. And it's rare. Mindset number 9, confidence without arrogance. Confidence is crucial, but it must be earned. And more importantly, it must be quiet. Arrogance says, I'm always right. Confidence says, I'll follow my system, even when I'm wrong. Confidence doesn't mean you avoid losses. It means you know what to do when they happen. You don't double down emotionally. You don't spiral. You execute, review, reset. And here's the secret. Real confidence is built through repetition. The more you follow your plan, journal your trades, and reflect, the more your brain learns. I've got this. I've done it before. For gray, I can do it again. I don't need to be right. I just need to stay consistent long enough for my edge to play out. That quote, it combines all 4 mindsets into one. Long-term vision, adaptability, humility, grounded confidence. This is the psychological spine of elite performance. The inner game stack, core idea, core mindsets into one. Number 6, long-term thinking. Trade for sustainability, not dopamine. Number 7, adaptability, update with the market or be left behind. Number 8, humility, kill the need to be right, obey price. Number 9, grounded confidence, trust your process, not your emotions. Now that we've strengthened your inner foundation, it's time to look at how these traders actually execute in the real world. They don't just feel grounded, they build systems that protect them from emotional sabotage. In part 8, we're going to explore one of the sharpest psychological shifts of all, systems over sensations. Let's get into it. Mindset number 10, systems over sensations. They don't trade feelings, they trade systems. Let's talk about one of the most expensive habits in trading. It's not over-leveraging. It's not ignoring risk. It's this, making trading decisions based on how you feel. I've got a good feeling about this setup. This looks like it's going to run. Something tells me to go long here. Sound familiar? Now look, we've all done it. But elite traders, they've trained themselves to do the opposite. They don't trust feelings. They trust systems. Because they know emotions lie, systems don't. The trap of emotional trading. Trading based on emotion feels exciting. It gives you the illusion of control, like you're reading the market with your gut. But in reality, it's chaos. Your feeling after 3 wins, probably just dopamine. Your gut signal after 2 losses, likely fear or ego. That urge to jump in because it looks good, probably FOMO dressed up as intuition. And here's the danger. The market doesn't care how you feel. It only rewards consistent execution of a repeatable edge. Not guesswork. Not impulse. Not adrenaline. So what does it mean to trade with a system? A real system means you've defined the rules before the emotions arrive. It tells you exactly when to enter, how much to risk, where your stop loss goes. when to take profit, when to do absolutely nothing. The beauty, once those rules are set, your job is simple. Follow the script. No second guessing, no chasing, no debating with your gut, just action, review, repeat. Systems create psychological freedom. Here's the shift most traders never make. They think systems are restrictive, like trading inside a box. But in reality, systems are what set you free. Because when you trust the system, you no longer fear missing out. You stop making decisions based on mood. You trade less and win more. You stay emotionally balanced even when the trade goes against you. It's like having bumpers on a bowling lane. Even if your emotions wobble, your system keeps you in line. What happens when you don't have a system? Simple. You fall into sensation trading. Here's how it plays out. You feel excited, so you jump into a random setup. You don't define your stop, you move your targets. Now the trade goes red, you freeze. No plan, no structure, just panic. That's not trading, that's improvising under pressure. And in the market, that kind of freestyle kills accounts. How to build a system-centric mindset. Step 1, backtest everything. Don't rely on your gut. Prove your setups with data. If it doesn't work over 100 trades, it won't work just because you feel good about it today. Step 2, write your rules before you trade. Define every decision in advance. The moment you leave room for feeling, you leave room for failure. Step 3, automate what you can. Set your stop loss and take profit in advance. Place orders using preset risk. Take as many real-time decisions off your plate as possible. Step 4, journal your execution, not your emotions. After the trade, ask yourself, did I follow my system? Not. Did I win? Not. Did I feel good about it? Just, did I do what I said I would do? Feelings are fleeting. Systems are scalable. The more you rely on structure, the less damage emotion can do. That's how pros operate. They don't fight emotion, they make it irrelevant by design. Now, if systems give you consistency, what gives you peak performance? What if you could enter every trading session with clarity, focus, and complete presence, like an athlete in the zone? That's not a myth. That's what happens when you learn to enter the flow state and build an identity around it. In the next part, we'll break down how millionaire traders train their brains for flow and why trading becomes effortless once it becomes part of who you are. Let me ask you something simple but powerful. Have you ever placed a trade so clean, so effortless, it felt like time disappeared? Your mind was calm. Every move felt obvious. No fear, no hesitation, no noise, just pure presence. That, my friend, is called flow state. And for elite traders, it's not a lucky accident. It's a skill, a mental muscle they train and access on command. What is flow state in trading? Flow is the state where your focus is fully locked in. You're not thinking, you're doing, you're not reacting, you're responding. There's no overthinking, no doubt. Just clear, calm execution. Athletes call it the zone. Artists call it inspiration. Traders, they call it the sweet spot where edge meets presence. Why flow matters more than you think. Here's the truth. You don't need more setups. You need fewer distractions. Most traders fail not because of lack of strategy, but because their focus is fractured. They're checking Twitter between candles, watching 3 charts while replying to messages, taking a trade while listening to music, watching news, and half-eating lunch. That's not flow, that's chaos. Flow requires intention. Flow requires space. And when you master it, your performance compounds. How traders trigger flow consistently. So how do elite traders tap into it? Here are 3 tools they use. 1, rituals. Just like a pro athlete warms up before a match, top traders warm up their mind. Same time, same routine. They review their playbook, they breathe, they focus their attention before touching a single chart. 2, environment control. Flow hates clutter. Your desk, your browser tabs, your mental noise. Everything must serve one goal: clear execution. This isn't multitasking. This is single tasking with intent. 3. Time blocking. You don't stay in flow all day. Top traders set specific hours to engage deeply, then disconnect. Flow loves rhythm. When your brain knows when it's game time, it shows up sharper. Mini insight: you don't chase flow, you set the stage for it. You can't force flow, but you can invite it. And once you taste it, you'll never want to trade in distraction again. Now let's talk about the final mindset: identity. This is the deepest shift of all. Because here's the thing: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the strength of your identity. Think about it. If you still see yourself as a guy trying to trade, then you'll act like a dabbler. You'll break rules, chase trades, get emotional, quit when it gets hard. But if you become someone who says, I am a disciplined, structured, professional trader, your actions begin to align, not because you're forcing it, but because you're simply acting in line with who you believe you are. How to shift identity, not just behavior. Here's how the pros made the shift. 1. Micro wins. Every time they follow a rule, journal a trade, skip a bad setup, they prove to themselves who they are. Over time, those wins compound into a new self-image. 2. Self-talk. They don't say, I hope I trade well today. They say, this is what I do. I execute, I adapt, I follow my system. 3. Environment. They surround themselves with other disciplined traders because identity is contagious. Here's the final unlock: when flow becomes a habit and discipline becomes your identity, trading becomes effortless, not easy, not perfect, but aligned, natural, sustainable. And that's the real goal. Not just to make money, but to become someone capable of making money again and again under pressure. That's mastery. That's power. That's freedom. We're almost there. You've now walked through 12 transformational mindsets, the psychological foundations that built some of the world's most consistent traders. But we're not done yet. In the final part, I'm going to tie it all together so you walk away not just inspired, but equipped to make real change in your trading life, starting today. Let's close this out strong. You now have the mind. What you do next is everything. Take a breath. You've just gone through a mental boot camp. 12 mindsets that transformed ordinary traders into consistent, dangerous professionals. And if you've made it this far, you're already not like most. Because most traders, they stop at strategies, they skip the psychology, and they pay the price in capital, in confidence, in years of their life. But you've chosen to go deeper, to step into the inner world where real edge is built. Now, let's bring it all together. Let's recap the 12 mindsets one last time. 1. Detach from outcome. You follow the process, not chase results. 2. Obsess over risk. You protect your capital like your life depends on it, because it does. 3. Emotional neutrality. You don't ride highs or crash with lows. You execute. 4. Precision over activity. You don't trade more. You trade better. 5. Brutal self-honesty. You treat every trade as a mirror. No blame, no ego, just truth. 6. Long-term thinking. You're not chasing daily wins. You're building a lifetime skill. 7. Adaptability. You evolve with the market, not fight it. 8. Humility. You don't need to be right. You need to be in sync with reality. 9. Grounded confidence. You trust your edge, not your emotions. 10. Systems over sensations. You follow structure, not gut feelings. 11. Flow state. You train focus. You eliminate noise. You enter the zone. 12. Identity shift. You don't just do trades. You are a trader. What this all really means. These aren't motivational quotes. They're not theory. They're weapons. Mental armor for surviving and thriving in a game that destroys most people. Because trading isn't just a technical skill, it's a psychological battlefield. And when you internalize these mindsets, not just know them, but live them, That's when your entire trading experience transforms. You stop bleeding from emotional mistakes. You stop jumping system to system. You stop blaming the market, and you start owning your process, your risk, your decisions. That's what separates the pros from the hopefuls. Traders' mantra to carry forward: I don't control the market, I control my risk, I control my process, I control my growth. That is enough, and that is powerful. Repeat it, believe it, build on it. Your final challenge: choose one. You don't need to master all 12 mindsets today. You just need to pick one and start living it. So ask yourself now, which mindset hit you the hardest? Which one exposed a weakness or sparked something inside you? Write it down. Make it your focus for the next 30 days. Journal it, practice it, talk about it, and watch what shifts, not just in your trades, but in your confidence, your clarity, your edge. Want a real edge? Build these blocks. Forget about perfect indicators. Forget about secret signals. The real edge has been in front of you the whole time. It's you. Sharpened, structured, self-aware. This video wasn't designed to hype you up. It was built to rewire you, to give you tools that actually hold up under pressure, because that's the difference between a blown account and a career. Now it's your turn. If this video opened your eyes, don't just like and move on. Share this with a trader who needs it, a friend who keeps blowing accounts, a colleague who's stuck in emotional loops. Send it their way. And drop in the comments, which mindset will you adopt first? Let's build a community of traders who think differently, who trade from strength, not sensation. And if you want to go deeper, check the link below. There's a free PDF with all 12 mindsets, plus journaling prompts, plus exercises to start implementing today. This isn't the end. This is the reset. You now have the blueprint. What you do with it is what will define you. Trade strong. Think deeper. See you in the next video.